There's been a lot of talk at the moment as well about improving diversity in broadcasting, and I know you're quite passionately talking about that. Would you like to expand on what you think about why has it become so white and male? I mean, to put it in. We
again,
had this,
you know,
I took the students to BBE, and one turned to me at one point and said, "This is a bit like white man, middle-aged, expert."
I think that we had a big setback in historically. Just again, very briefly, context-wise, I think we had a big setback in the 90s and possibly even in the early part of the noughties, where it was sort of thought that if we deregulate television, they'll kind of regulate themselves. They'll figure out that they've got to respond to this diversity issue. And they didn't. So what we saw, I worked on a black detective show in 1988 in Deptford called South of the Border, which was a show that had 2-year run, had Buki Armstrong as a Nigerian lead. And I'm really sad to say this, but that's the last time that the BBC put a black female detective into a primetime drama, was 1989. It's kind of shocking, really, in terms of, you go, well, what happened tell me the next cycle, next 20 years, what went wrong, And I think, to go back to my earlier point, I think what went wrong was that there was this sense that somehow it would kind of take care of itself on the one hand, and the other hand was, you got this whole management culture coming in as well. And it's no good laying down a set of guidelines that say we really need this percentage here and we need that percentage there, is if the people who are ultimately responsible for telling the stories are not being stimulated and encouraged into really reflecting the diversity of the world they live in, it just ain't going to happen. You have to have an element of positive assertion, if not discrimination, about it. And the BBC at a management level is traditionally has been very white, very middle class, very male. And unfortunately that has also been the case at ITV. I think there have been very few excuses at Channel 4 for not producing more diversity, but it hasn't been the case that there's been a lot of diversity in drama. I think an organisation like Sky, for very good commercial reasons, is genuinely interested in how to catch up and show a much more diverse culture than is shown by some of the other broadcasters. But it takes time. And I'm working at the moment with one or two artists on a couple of projects, which we hope will help change the space very rapidly in terms of primetime drama, of saying, no, you can get good stories and you can get diverse stories on air, and you can do it really well, and in fact you can do it quite quickly. You just have to be prepared to make the commitment. And I think getting the commitment made is kind of like, it is actually no more Mr. Nice Guy. One has to actually start saying, no, there's a huge amount of catch-up that has to happen here, and we have to facilitate and really augment the efforts that are being made amongst the ambitious ethnic representatives in our world, in our society. That's you as much as it is us, to try and push this this diversity of material forward. And it will take more effort and a lot more resource than it has previously been given, but it's got to be done. It has to be done. Otherwise, we're just a joke. I mean, even in America, which is having all its racial issues thrown up with Trump and Clinton and all that bollocks that's going on over there at the moment, but even there, and I've worked on shows in North America, I worked on a series in Canada, they don't even question the fact that the cast has to reflect the diversity of their culture. So if you make a show in Toronto where you've got factions from all over the world living, because Canada is a massively multicultural society, you absolutely do it almost, by dint of a scorecard, and you say, no, we're going to have an Asian character and we're going to have a black character, and that's how you make it work. It's and it might sound over codified and over rigorous, but it's really, really important that when people watch the screen, they have an opportunity to see their faces, their colour, their culture, and their histories reflected. It's absolutely critical. Otherwise, people are just going to laugh at you. Sorry. And that's what they're doing at the moment with the BBC. I think it's been an enormous problem. When you're arguing, let's have another remit, let's have another 10 years life, and you're going, yeah, but show us how many black female detective dramas you've had in the last 20 years.